In conversation with Jordan K. Nightsage. Jordan K. Nightsage, creator of Aurea Olam, the planet Terris and Alpha Dimensions, hails from Metro, Detroit, Michigan, United States of America. Jordan's books include children's middle grade and young adult fantasy adventure with a touch of science fiction. A dedicated father of two young children, Jordan still draw from the classic inspiration of J.R.R. Tolkien, C.S. Lewis, and George Lucas, weaving a tapestry of epic fantasy and vibrant science fiction with threads of everyday relatability. Jordan fostered a lifelong dream of weaving its own narratives. He writes with the intention to entertain and ignite thought and empathy, hoping to add a small yet meaningful stroke on the canvas of the world through his word. Through his novels and short stories, Jordan invites readers of all ages to take part in an exciting voyage of fantasy, discovery, and personal growth. His narrative voice is a testament to the power of stories, how they can serve to entertain, educate, and inspire. And on today's episode of Auto Interview, it's my utmost pleasure and joy to have on the show today Jordan Nightsage. How are you doing, Jordan?
Good. Thank you so much, Peter. It's a pleasure to meet you as well. Pleasure to be on the show. Thanks so much. Everything's
Yeah,
going well today. Yep. Can't complain. So
yeah. It's kind of pleasure actually to have you on the show today. I'm quite excited.
same here. Yeah, same here.
Absolutely.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
so Jordan, could you tell us about your book, Leo James and the Magical Phoenix Feather, which I found the description page of it on Amazon to be quite captivating and beautiful. And I'd like to ask you, what inspired you to write Leo James and the Magical Phoenix Feather?
Okay. Well, Leo James and the Magical Phoenix Feather. If I can, I'm hoping that I can
Yeah,
get. It's kind of.
beautiful
I got the
cover.
Zoom.
Yeah, beautiful.
And here's some artwork from the book. I got the Zoom filter on. I should have taken that off. Apologize about that. That's why it's kind of blurry. Here's some of the artwork. I think it's beautifully done by Tamara Piper, professional illustrator, great person, really great to work with. Um,
Wow.
as far as what inspired me to write the book, I, I'm a father, actually single father now. I have two young kids at 4 and 6. And they're reaching reading age, and I'm reading stories to them, reading with them. And I started to think, what if I tried to do this? What if I could write something that my kids would like too,
Mm,
Um, and that was the main initial inspiration for this book, for Leo James and the Magical Phoenix Feather.
wow.
Um, I wanted to write something that I would want them to read and that they would want to read. So,
Yeah.
um, Leo James, I sort of conceived of the character for a middle grade series because I actually write illustrated children's books, middle grade novels, and young adult novels, all from the same fictional, expansive universe, which is Aurea Olam, Planet Terris, Alpha Dimension.
Mm,
And the older kids' books, they tie in together. The magical, Phoenix Feather, these are children's books. They're
yeah.
illustrated, like I said, they're standalone. I can't really say they tie into the older kids' books,
Oh.
but they, will hopefully appeal to, kids, I think 4 to 9, I would say.
Mm.
A 4-year-old might have to have their parent read it to them. 9-year-old could probably read it themselves, no problem, I think.
Oh.
But yeah, so that's the deal with the book. So
Wow. That sounds quite beautiful to me, really. Quite lovely. A nice dive into children's literature, and it's nice to know how you get to start to the making of the book. Thank you for sharing.
no, no problem, no problem. I should add
Yeah.
too that it's on Amazon,
Oh,
ebook and paperback. And it will be
wow.
available hardcover on a couple other platforms like Barnes and Noble and Lulu and through
Mm.
Spark. soon. Actually, I think it's available through the Ingram Spark Networks right now. It
Wow.
should, but anyway, didn't mean to interrupt you, but I gotta do the
Yeah.
plug, right? I gotta do the proper plug, right?
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Thanks for sharing. And I'd like to ask you, Jordan, for readers who haven't read the book yet, and of course, without giving much information away, could we have a sneak of what I'd expect picking up the book? Also, why have you chosen to write under the genre of children's sci-fi fantasy?
Okay, so what people can expect, like I said, beautiful illustrations.
Yeah.
It's my children's books are basically like a modern day fairy tale
Wow.
type setting, using some mythology. Um, you know, I want to convey, sort of meaningful truths and
Mm,
lessons to kids through fantasy and through
mm,
fairy tale and through mythology. Um, so, this book really focuses on facing your fears, having, learning what real courage is, what real
wow.
bravery is, not being scared, but, still facing your fears even when you are scared, right? Still following through. So also friendship is a big theme and helping others. In this particular book, Leo
Wow.
helps a baby animal, but I think it can be applied to human beings too, and can teach the lesson of that helping others is a good thing. So um,
Absolutely.
yeah, that's what I would say people can expect. Back to the fact that I have kids this age, right?
Wow.
That's the main reason. I like fantasy and sci-fi. I always have. When I was that age, I loved it. So I'm kind of, I mean, I write for my kids, but also kind of step into my, adult kid shoes too, and kind of think, all right, what would I have liked back then? You know what I mean?
Mm,
And so. Um, I think it's important to, provide kids with good stories that have good sort of substance and teach some moral lessons and that type of thing. Of course, for my older books, the middle grade and young adult, the lessons um, are different and aren't quite as obvious, I guess.
yeah.
I'm more going after themes and not going after, but, exploring themes and trying to look at various concepts and um, you know, principles and that type of thing, from different directions and that type of thing, to give more of a nuanced
Wow.
sort of presentation and exploration of certain topics.
Mm.
Whereas for the children's books, like Phoenix Feather, it's a little more direct, it's a little more direct of a story, a little simpler. So,
Yeah. I love
yeah.
your take on this, actually. I love your answers to the question. Yeah, sounds quite lovely to me. And now I'm curious to know if you experienced any challenges while writing your book. If there is any, could you share with us what challenge it is and how you ultimately overcame it?
Okay. I have had recurring challenges with time, time management and having time to write, having time to deal with publishing, with promotion.
Mm,
Promotion is, Peter, is a whole nother animal, right? It's one thing to be able to write a book, it's another thing to be able to get it to the readers who want to read it and who like
mm,
it. Um, the toughest thing is, I'm a practicing attorney. I have two kids, as I mentioned, and I'm also in school for a master's program right now. So,
interesting.
uh, yeah, kind of a lot on my plate. So, unfortunately, writing and publishing takes a bit of a back seat sometimes, but who knows? Maybe that can change in the future. So,
Yeah. It's nice to, hear this from you and to thank you for adding that as a response to your question. Sounds quite intriguing to me. Yeah, so thank you.
thank you.
Yeah, now Jordan, apart from Leo James and the Magical Phoenix Feather, do you have any other works you're currently working on?
Yes, I actually have three more illustrated children's books written and being illustrated by Tamara Piper right now. So those will be coming out, over the next few months. I can't guarantee they'll all be out before the end of the year, but I'm planning to release the next one in the series, which is Leo James and the Magical Golden Antlers
Mm.
on April 2nd, Tuesday, April 2nd. So that's the next children's book I have coming out.
Wow.
Um, I have another Leo James book, coming out with Tamara right now with Miss Piper, and then one starring Mila Quinn,
Wow.
um, and Leo James. And Mila Quinn is Leo's friend who appears for the first time in the next book. So people will get a chance to meet her soon. So I'm also pretty close to publishing the first book in a series, a young adult fantasy series, from Aurea Olam Alpha Dimension,
Mm.
called it's the series is called The Eradicators. And the first book is called The Wounds We Carry. And
Mm.
basically um, it's an exploration of um, mercy, justice,
Wow.
vengeance, um,
Mm.
holding on to hatred and to unforgiveness and that type of thing.
Wow.
Essentially, the Eradicators are basically a vigilante army that came up and started to fight what's called the Abominari, who are
Mm.
sort of the evil foot soldiers of Obsidious Desolator, who's the main antagonist for the franchise, for the fictional universe.
Wow.
They're kind of like orcs. I would compare them to orcs from Lord of the Rings. And they
Mm.
basically, they wreak havoc on the lands of Aurea Olam. So the
Wow.
Eradicators are a group that's risen up to fight against that, and they experience some uh, division in their ranks amongst their members when they realize that not all of the Abominari are as violent and vicious as they thought. And
Mm.
so basically, I explore um, sort of the moral sort of um, dilemmas of war and of conflict, and
Wow.
uh, the us versus them, the other, that type of thing.
Wow.
Um, in perception of groups, that might be misunderstood, by the majority. So
Interesting.
the eradicators that, the wounds we carry should be out in the next couple of months. Then I'm also working on a middle grade series called Leo James and the Runestone Compass. And that will
Interesting.
hopefully be out later this year. That is, a fantasy adventure novel series. Um, the way I pictured Leo James and the Runestone Compass when I conceived of it was,
Mm.
Harry Potter in Middle Earth with a little bit of Star Wars mixed in, right? So that's kind of where I got the basic premise of Leo James and Runestone Compass. And I think I'm able to come up with something that's, original and fresh, and hopefully people will like, kids especially. The middle grade books are for
Yeah.
8 to 12 year olds. The um, young adult books are for 12 to 18 year olds. And as I
Yeah.
mentioned, the children's books are for 4 to 9 year olds. Sometimes I say
Interesting.
5 to 8 year olds, but to be safe, 4 to 9. So
Yeah, I love your take on this, really. I love your take on this, and it sounds like you have quite a lot of works ongoing already. So many works you've
yeah,
got
I'm staying
ongoing.
busy. Yeah, staying busy.
That's amazing, really. Well done. Well done on them. And now, Jordan, could you tell us what publishing is like for a published author like yourself? Are there any challenges you've encountered ever since you got published?
Yeah, I would say that there's quite a few challenges. Publishing is not easy. There's a lot to
Mm.
do, a lot of little details to attend to, especially when you're doing it mostly by yourself. Although I do try to collaborate with others anytime I
Right,
can,
yes.
other writers, other creatives. Um, Obviously, I have to. not have to, but I collaborate with editors and my illustrator and that type of thing. Um, so, but it's a lot, especially with other stuff. If it was my full-time gig and that was all I had to do, I'm sure it would be a lot more manageable. But with everything I have going on, it's a lot, I won't lie. But it's fun. I've had a blast doing it. So, hoping hoping people like the books and I'll be able to keep doing this for some
Yeah.
times. That's my hope. So
Yeah, thank you. It's quite lovely to know about that. Thank you for sharing. And now, Jordan, is there anything that you would love to share with the viewers about your book that we did not mention in this interview and you'd love the viewers to know?
let's see that I haven't mentioned. I think I've covered most of it. It's only been out for a little, almost 2 weeks. And it's doing pretty good on Amazon. It's got
Yeah,
21 ratings with a 4.9 uh,
interesting.
rating score. So that's great. Um, it's I think when I read it to my son, I haven't read it to my daughter yet, but I didn't tell him that I had written it, and I read it to him, and he really liked it, and he gave me a
Wow,
hug right at the point where it was kind of like the most uh,
interesting.
dramatic point of the story. He gave me a hug, and I was like, it was kind of heartwarming, it was definitely touching. So um, hopefully, I've gotten pretty good feedback from parents saying their kids really liked it. So
Mm,
if you got kids this age, and you want a book that might not, that might be a little unique, like I said, it's basically modern fairy tales. So,
yeah,
um, it's kind of unlike a lot of the other books out there. So give it a try. So,
yeah. That's amazing. I love your take on that. Sounds quite amazing to me. And I would like you to read a sample page of your book. But before we get into that, I would like to ask you, as a published author, what sort of advice do you have for writers who are still struggling with writing and publishing a book?
okay, I would say keep working at it, keep writing.
Yeah,
Um, Once you do publish, keep writing and keep
yeah,
publishing. Um, I would say do your research on the platforms that you're posting
mm,
on, who your readers are, what your
yeah.
readers might want. Um, I hate to say it, say it out here publicly, but like search engine optimization, can be pretty
Oh,
important on somewhere like Amazon, that type of thing.
yeah.
Um, Looking into all that. Um, and don't be afraid to ask other people who might have more experience than you on something, or even less experience. I learn
Mm,
things from people that have less experience than me all the time,
absolutely.
you know. Don't be afraid to learn from somebody,
Yeah,
and to help somebody else out too. That's one thing that I've been really impressed with about
yeah,
the author community so far, and
absolutely.
readers, is that people are really willing to help other people out in this community, and that's awesome. That's not
Mm,
something that I see everywhere I go. So, um,
yeah, I love your take on that, really. I love your take on that. And now, would you like to read a sample page of your book?
okay,
It could be a
all
favorite
right.
line, paragraph, page. Yeah, if you would like to.
Yes, I can't. I don't have page numbers on here, so I can't tell you the page number. But this is the illustration. If I can get it to
Oh,
work in the blurriness. Okay, there we go. Leo holding a feather, the phoenix feather.
yeah, yeah, we can see.
Do you want me to hold it up while
No,
I?
no, no, we can see. It's fine already.
Okay, all right. So here I go. As Leo looked at the phoenix, it extended a glowing feather toward him, gleamed with colors Leo had never seen before. He carefully took it, and as he cradled it in his hands, a bond was created between him and the phoenix. Leo instantly knew the creature's name, Valendar. This feather is a symbol of friendship from the phoenix. And remember, true friends help each other in times of fear,
Mm,
Grandpa Victor's voice explained. With Grandpa Victor's words ringing in his ears and the magical feather warm in his hands, Leo felt his fear drifting away. That's
Oh,
one page from Leo James and the Magical Phoenix Feather. So,
that's beautiful, actually. I love your imagery and I love your choice of words. You must have chosen it permanently or carefully to the tone of the children in a way that they can understand it better rather
oh,
than having
definitely,
it.
yeah, yeah, definitely. You got to speak the language of your reader,
Absolutely.
right? So,
Yeah, I love your take on that actually. And now, Jordan, in case we have some viewers who are currently watching this interview, I would love to get a copy of your book. On what platform is it available on for purchase?
okay, it's available. My book, Leo James and the Magical Phoenix Feather, is available on Amazon. It's available by ebook
Mm.
download. It's available on paperback on Amazon. It's also available on Audible. The audiobook version is on Audible. It's available on a number of other outlets. It's published also through Lulu, Barnes and Noble,
Mm.
Ingram Spark, Publish Drive, which distributes, or you might not know, but distributes to a lot of different platforms. And so, but I would say if you're looking for the book, start at Amazon. That's probably the easiest thing I can suggest. It is spelled a little bit differently than the traditional way that Phoenix is spelled, Fenix. And I did that on
Oh,
purpose because I wanted to basically create a new animal, a new mythological animal.
wow.
And the way I've formulated is that, this is a giant bird, Leo rides on the
Mm.
phoenix's back. So,
Interesting.
so in the stories, not in this story particularly, but in the fictional universe, this phoenix is the sort of the real animal that Earth's
Wow.
myth of the phoenix is based on, right?
Wow.
So some people have mentioned like, oh, well, you spelled it wrong. You spelled it wrong. And I was like, no, I didn't. I
Interesting.
did it on purpose. But so I just figured I'd give that little explanation at the end.
Yeah. That was fun to know, actually. I love knowing about that. Thank you for sharing.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I left a link in the description part of this interview where interested viewers can get a copy of Jordan Nightsage book directly on Amazon and also on other platform. So thank you so much, Jordan, for accepting the invitation to be featured on P English Literature. It's awesome having this conversation with you.
Well, thank you so much, Peter. It's been a real pleasure meeting you and being here, and it's been great. Really, thank you so much.
Yeah, it's my pleasure as well.